Hello all, let's get this started. And in this particular video, I'm going to talk about how to analyze your mock test. I'm sure that you're taking your test, your scores are going up and down. You might be sitting and wondering what to do. So this is about analyzing your mock test which you are taking. So the first thing that you need to understand is when you look at the mock test, what is the purpose of this particular test? Why are we doing this is absolutely important. What is the reason as to why you're taking the test? This mock test is not going to give us admissions. The mock test is also not to be thought of your ability to make it to the national universities, right? It is not a reflection of your chances of making it to national university. What you have to look at a mock test merely as a tool. Or I'm saying a preparation tool is merely a prep tool which objective is to help you give direction to your preparation and also help you identify the areas that you need to work on. So this is basically what the test is. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to understand when you take this test, it's absolutely important to understand a few things. You get what is a raw score. A raw score is a score that you get. Every question has got 1 mark, plus 1 and minus 0.25. You get a raw score, right? And also get what is a percentile rank. This is a percentile, not a score. Percentile is merely a rank among the people who have taken the test, right? So what you have to at this point in time worry is about your scores. Okay, let's not worry too much about your percentile rank. It is important to the extent that I know where am I with respect to others, but this is this is something that will not worry at this point in time when I'm analyzing the test. At least in this month, while I'm analyzing the test, I'm focusing on this score. But I need to understand a little more. Okay, let's assume. So your CLAT has got 150 questions, right? So you've got English. Okay, let me pick another color. Okay, we have got English. We have got GK. We have got logic, legal. We have got logic. And we have got your quant, and all of this put together, they have given you 150 questions. There are total 150 questions, which is divided into these sections. For the timing, let's look at these 150 questions. And what will happen in the test is that you will attempt a certain number of questions. Let's say that you may attempt around this many number of questions. That is your attempt. And out of the questions that you attempted, there could be a certain number of questions that you got correct. Let's assume that let's say this is the number of corrects that you got. This is your correct. This is your wrongs. And these are the questions that you did not attempt. So I don't know what happened. For some reason, I did not attempt. I did not attempt this question either because I did not have time to attempt this question, or I did not attempt the question because I saw the question. I did not know how to answer that question, right? But this is not giving us a complete story. The reason why it is not giving us a complete story is whatever you've done during the mock test, whatever the score that you've got here was under a time pressure. Okay. The first question that I need to ask myself is that out of this 150 question, given this has happened in the test, how many of these questions do I really know? So if let's say if I remove the time pressure, how many of these questions do I really know? I need to understand out of this. So for out of these wrong questions, how many of them were silly mistakes? Out of these questions that I did not attempt, how many of these questions that I really know? So the next thing that you should do is to actually retake the test. When I say retake the test, you look at these wrong questions, look at these questions, and redo those questions once again without looking at the solutions. Redo the question and then get a note of how many questions that I actually know. What would happen is that out of these 150 questions, maybe I know about 130 questions but I only attempted about 100 questions, out of which I only got 80 corrects. What you'll come to know out of this wrong, there might be certain questions that you got correct and the certain questions that are still wrong. Out of this one that you missed, there could be certain questions that you got now you're getting correct, certain question you don't know. Now if I look at these ones, I'll also check this just to understand, is there any fluke there? These ones. So for example, this, in addition to the initial tick that I got two more ticks. Let me call this A, let me call this B, let me call this C. Now I need to understand the score of A plus B plus C. I am going to call this score as my or CLAT score. I'm just giving that name, my ability. So therefore, what I now have are these things. What I now have is that I have what is a raw score. I also have, let me just remove here, I obviously need to reach a particular target. So maybe that is like say 100 plus or 110, whatever the target that you set, or let's say whichever is the 99th percentile score for that particular 90th percentile, what score correspond to 99th percentile, I want to reach that particular target. Let's put about the target that is set. And now I also understand this a score in between, which is my OCAD score. This is something that I will only come to know. This is very easy to come to know. This is easy, but this only come to know if I spend that time redoing all the questions once again. Then I'll come to know the score. Then I see there are two gaps. There is a gap which is here between my raw score and OCAD score, and there is a gap here which OCAD and target score. What does this gap really mean? I'm just going to call this gap as competence gap, which means it largely probably is maybe some question in maths or maybe some GK. I don't know this stuff. I just don't know. Either I don't know or I'm getting this confused. I need to study more. But what is this gap really? This was something that I could have got. This is my potential. You can call it OCAD score or your potential score. But this is the only thing that you got. What is the gap? This gap has to do with your execution gap, which means in the test, you're not taking the test. Maybe you got stuck in a particular section, stuck in a particular question. Something happened. And this execution gap is a gap that you want to change based on your behavior. What behavior? My spelling. Okay. Oh, I forgot the spelling. Really, I did. What behavior changes? This is obviously, I think, stuff that I need to study more. When you have a test like the CLAT, where you've got English, logic, and legal, which is about 100 questions, and all these questions are comprehension based. These are based on skills. Really, there is nothing that I need. There are stuff that I can still do in logic. I need to understand what is logic. I need to understand arguments. I need to understand assumptions. But at the end of the day, this largely has to do with our behavior. When it comes to the test, I need to understand my behavior, what I need to change. And then you have this competence gap. I list down stuff that I need to study. If I don't do this, and if I just look at the raw score and then look at the target score, and then you are directionless. So this is what you should do with respect to analysis of the test. So basically what you'll then get to know is that I've got, let's say, section 1. Let's list down those sections. Let's say I've got English, I've got logic, I've got legal. I'm clubbing all these put together as reading. I've got quant, QT, and I've also got GK. Right, so I've got the scores. I've got my raw score. I've got my potential score or OCAD score. And let's say that I will also individually each of the section in the mock test, you can actually you see a graph, right? In the first page of your mock analysis, you see a graph of score versus percentile. You see a graph that something goes like this, which has got a percentile and we have got some scores. Right, so this is graph. You put your mouse on any of these number, you will understand for a particular percentile what is the score. My suggestion is that in each of these section, pick the 95th percentile score. Which was the 95th percentile? What is that score? So you get these three data on each of these first. Write this down. You can actually use an Excel sheet. Write this down, and then you see these gaps. Then you'll get a better understanding. My feeling is that this will be more than this. You can even put 97, 99 up to you. So I need to get these sort of numbers in place. The first step is to have these numbers, and then I can think about what is a remedy that I can have. So for example, here in GK, for example, this gap is very unlikely to exist because you would have attempted all the questions that you know. GK is largely about this gap, which is probably your target, which will be a knowledge sort of gap. This I put my target as a score, right? That's just putting the target as a score. That's all. 95th percentile, 97th percentile score is a good target to have. If already at 97 percentile is great, right? So you would want to look at GK. Mostly it's going to be knowledge issue. And then you look at, okay, what happens? Sometimes what happens in GK is that I remember there are 2 to 3 things that have happened with respect to GK. Sometimes I've got, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sets, out of which I have no clue about 2 sets. I have no idea. Out of the ones that I know, I don't know all the questions. So sometimes I remember this, but I can't recall it. I can't recall. I remember reading it, but I can't recall. All that would happen. So then you understand why that happened, which month was the article, how did I miss it, or let's say, okay, I'll keep a note of these things. Maths, my feeling is that for many of you, this gap will be huge. Most of the time, we just ignore maths. Right? And actually, we go with the assumption that I don't know stuff. Sometimes this gap may also exist, but this is going to be my take is that this knowledge gap in maths, which will be very limited, unless of course the questions came from topics like permutations, combination, or stuff like that, which the CLAT has not asked, at least recently. You've got this gap, but then you know that, okay, fine. Why didn't I not write QT? Okay, did I waste some time? And here in all this reading section, you will find this gap. You would have made some issues with respect to each of these three areas. So what behavior you will have. So once you understand these things, then you get an understanding. So now what is going to happen is that this you initially said, sir, this will take a lot of time. Yes, it will take a lot of time. If your number of wrongs here and number of this is huge, it is going to take a lot of time. Over a period of time, what I'm guessing is that this will change, right? You will start getting more and more questions, which is correct. So your attempt may be somewhere here. You will probably attempt here. This may be attempt. You may get lot many questions correct. This may be a correct. So the number of questions that you really have to analyze will be less. So over time, this will reduce. But it is very important that every single test you get to know this, and this is the starting point of knowing what needs to be done, right? And once you know what needs to be done, then remedies will come. So don't jump into conclusion. You have to do this analysis every week after taking a mock. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what really going to help you improve your score. I hope this one made sense. I'll see you again. Let me know what kind of topic you want me to address. Put that in the comment box. I will address those issues and questions that you may have. Bye.